It's a Veggie BLT Pita! I totally suck at video games, but love to play them anyway.
Aloha! Veggie here with another monthly tip, or thing I've played. I play a lot of games, but I rarely finish them, thanks to my level of gaming expertise. I don't want to do a review on a game I haven't finished, but I'm more than happy to give you all a taste of different games, hopefully making your decision to play or not play said games much easier. For the June 2015 tip, I'm going to talk about a favorite game of mine, Drakengard 3 for the PS3. You may have heard me talk about this game before. It was my top game of 2014, and I dedicated one of my 12 games of Christmas to it. I figured it was time to show off what the game was all about, especially now that I have a capturing device that has widescreen and HD capabilities to do the game more justice. The story starts out with a girl and her dragon on a quest to murder her sisters. Things don't go as planned, and a year later we start the story again with Zero, our violence-prone heroine, and her partner Mikhail, a young dragon with a bright and innocent personality. Their mission is to, once again, kill all of Zero's sisters, but the plan changes to take them out one at a time. The story seems simple at first, but like the other games in the Drakengard family, things aren't always as they seem. I don't want to spoil things, but when you think you've beaten the game, you've really just gone through Verse A, and getting to the actual true end takes a lot of work, so of course I haven't done that yet. If you have a dark sense of humor, however, I hear the payoff is very worth it. The story may be ridden with spoilers I dare not speak, but the gameplay is something I can go over. Drakengard 3 is a brawler at heart. You go through stages and destroy everyone in your path. Zero has 4 weapon types at her disposal: sword, spear, chakram, and bracers, and she can change weapons in mid-combo, which adds a lot of depth to the combat. There are a variety of each weapon type, and each of those has 4 levels to upgrade through. Continuing the theme in previous Drakengard games, the weapons tell a story as you upgrade them, some dark, some comical, and some referencing events in past games. Upgrading weapons costs money and material, which you earn through the levels, but more through the side missions. To make grinding for money and material a little easier, each verse and side mission can be played over and over to your heart's content. There are some materials you won't see until later in the game, and you can't even get to the true ending until you get every weapon, including those that need to be bought as well as those unlocked by certain circumstances. So there's a lot of work ahead of you if the true end is your goal. The side missions are called Accords quests, and if you want to upgrade or buy anything, you'll be playing them a lot. Each mission has a specific way to achieve victory, some more frustrating than others. I don't recommend playing the quests over and over with no break in between, as doing so almost burned me out on the game, even though I did finally get what I needed to upgrade my weapon. Thankfully, the fighting itself is fast and pretty fun. If you get bored with one weapon, switch to another and perform new combos. This game has a target lock-on, which is very useful when you want to target specific enemies. Zero can also block and parry, or dodge roll to get away from incoming attacks. And when you just can't kill an enemy the normal way, Zero can go into intoner mode, becoming insanely powerful for a short time as she slashes and wails on whatever enemies are left on the screen. There are segments where you control Mikhail to take out hordes of enemies or face certain bosses. I'm not so great with aerial combat and control, but it is pretty empowering to spew fire at my foes. While there are a variety of enemies in the game, you will see them a lot. This is both good and bad, because you'll learn the best way to take certain enemies out, making the combat more fluid, but you may get bored when you see the same stupid giant baby doll for the nth time. Also, some enemies can only be taken out with specific weapons, such as the shield guy lineup where you need to spear charge them first to get rid of the shields. On the whole, however, the enemies are weird enough that I still enjoyed seeing them repeatedly, and the big enemies offer a nice challenge as well as a sense of accomplishment when you beat them down. One major downfall of the combat is the camera. It does what it wants, and you're just going to have to try your best to work around that. If you get stuck in a corner, you can kiss any sort of visibility goodbye. Just start hacking away until Zero is back in an open area. The camera being so terrible is frustrating at times, but it's no worse than the first Kingdom Hearts, so don't fret too badly. Throughout the missions, Zero collects a few companions known as Disciples. The Disciples are the previous sexual partners of Zero's intoner sisters. because apparently being an intoner gives the girls a very strange sexual appetite. They are fairly useless in terms of actual fighting, only distracting various enemies and every now and again taking one out, but the banter they add is delightful. Each of the disciples has a very prominent personality, and while I like them all, Decatus and his insane masochism might top my banter chart. The sisters Zero is trying to kill also have vibrant personalities, with more and more revealed as the game goes into other branches. They're all nuts, even 4 who seems fairly nice and normal. There's crazy weight behind all the sisters' pretty faces. Zero's dragon companion, Mikhail, is probably my least favorite character, and yet his naivety is needed to balance Zero's coldness. All the cast is weird, eccentric, and a lot of fun to watch, and I'm only about a third through the entire game, so I'm sure there's a lot more to see and uncover. While the character design is very nice, I'll be the first to admit the actual graphics of Drakengard 3 leave a lot to be desired. Square Enix put together a gorgeous CG sequence for the intro, but that's the only CG I've seen so far. The in-game graphics aren't bad, but they aren't up to the snuff of most Square Enix games, or even most late-era PS3 games, which is a little disappointing. The music from this game has been great so far, and makes me wish the sample CD I got with the limited edition was much longer. And considering how much I've heard the song that plays in the menu area, I'm still not tired of it, which says something. As for the voices, well, I pre-ordered this game, so I got the Japanese voice pack for free. I think it's now DLC you can pay for, which is nice if you didn't get it as a pre-order bonus. Be warned, it's a large file. Also, one thing I didn't like about the Japanese audio track is how enemy soldier taunts and shouts during combat get no translation. I understand a little Japanese, so this is okay for me, but if you have no knowledge of the language, it'll just be noise. I'm a big fan of the Japanese voices and have barely played in English, however the English voices seem to be on the better end of the dub scale, many recognizable from other games or anime. It's nice to have voice options, and in the case of Drakengard 3, both seem to be a win. Drakengard 3 is a flashy action game with a fun combat system and a crazy story. That's a winning combination for me, but your mileage may vary. There's a lot to do in this game for completionists, and many hours of gameplay ahead. There's also a lot of dirty humor and a ton of gore. It's an eclectic mix that will instantly draw some in, and just the same instantly repel others from ever touching it. As I stated earlier, I'm only about a third through the game, but I've loved every bit of violence-soaked insanity I've played. And that's Drakengard 3, a polarizing game not for the faint of heart or humor. I love this series so much, I paid the high Square Enix website-only price for the limited edition, which was mostly worth it. There's a lot of DLC out for the game as well, extending the gameplay and story even further with prequels starring the sisters 1 through 5. I'm glad this game did well enough that Square Enix is putting out Nier 2, which is by the Drakengard team and theoretically takes place in the same universe, though the sordid tale of how that works out is best saved for another day. If this tip has got you hooked, you can buy Drakengard 3 for the PS3, physical or digital, and it goes on sale fairly often. If you've already played the game, or at least share my love of all things Drakengard, leave a comment below on my Twitter or on Facebook. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.